In this video, I take a look at the Heathkit CR1 Crystal Receiver, a simple crystal radio kit offered by Heathkit. A crystal radio receiver, or crystal set, is a simple radio receiver that was popular in the early days of radio. It uses only the energy of the received radio signal to produce sound, needing no external power. The name comes from its use of a detector made from a piece of crystalline material. A crystal detector includes a crystal, typically made of galena, a natural mineral form of lead sulfide. A thin wire or metal probe, traditionally called a cat's whisker, contacts the crystal, which is held in place in a cup or other enclosure. More modern crystal sets use semiconductor diodes, usually made from germanium, which operate on the same principle. Crystal radios are the simplest type of receiver and can be made from only a few inexpensive parts: a length of wire for an antenna and a connection to ground, a wire coil, sometimes a variable tuning capacitor, the crystal detector, and earphones. They were commonly built by hobbyists beginning in the 1920s at the dawn of broadcast radio. Heathkit sold a crystal receiver kit, the CR1, from 1956 to 1962 at a typical cost of US $7.95. It was sold as a kit of parts and instructions that allowed someone with limited experience in electronics to assemble it. The kit included a case and headphones and required an external antenna and ground connection to operate. The CR1 receives the AM broadcast band from 540 to 1600 kHz. It included a set of 4000 ohm headphones, believed to be the trim Acme model. The antenna was ideally a long wire 50 feet or more in length installed outdoors, but a shorter antenna could be used with reduced performance. Also needed was a ground connection to a cold water pipe or metal stake in the ground. The detailed manual was 15 pages in length, and as well as kit construction and operation, it covered theory on how radio and radio receivers work. Binding posts are provided for the antenna and ground connections, as well as headphones. The three controls are used for tuning, which I'll cover during the demonstration. It used the same bakelite case as some other Heathkit products, like this IN12 resistance substitution box. It uses a simple circuit with two variable capacitors, two fixed capacitors, an antenna coil, and a switch. The crystal diode, Heathkit part number 56-3, is thought to be a 1N3720 germanium signal diode, similar to a 1N34. The antenna coil or transformer uses a ferrite rod and Litz wire windings. It utilizes two variable capacitor tuning circuits, both of which need to be adjusted for maximum output on the signal being received. As well as the tuning capacitors, a three-position switch can switch in one or two additional capacitors to adjust the antenna tune circuit for the type of antenna being used. Typically, a long wire antenna works best in position 0, and shorter antennas in position 100 or 200. I'll now give a short demonstration of the radio operating. It originally would have come with high impedance headphones. Modern headphones are low impedance, typically 8 ohms, and are not suitable. You could also use a crystal earplug, such as this one. For the demo, I've connected it to external amplified speakers. For the antenna, I'm using my attic ham radio antenna and a connection to ground. To operate, set the antenna selector switch for the type of antenna. I had best results with mine in position 0. Rotate both dials until you hear a station, and adjust both for maximum output. It can take some time and practice.
Bigwell, Hooven, and Kelly just put together today, generating some good offensive zone time and some chances for the 67s. Bigwell just jamming one wide.
For veterans, TBC event, the TV stations coming on board, Hawkesbury General Hospital, L'Hôpital Montfort, and Shield Hospitals coming on board with us.
And Cindy?
I'm able to clearly pick up the two local AM radio stations in my area. I should be able to pick up more stations at night. The manual suggested that you log the dial settings for stations received for future reference. The antenna switch setting can be added to the antenna knob position. I acquired this radio in a local estate auction of radio and electronic equipment in October of 2025. It was complete except for the manual and headphones, which are rarely seen. It was in excellent shape, and the only restoration I did was some light cleaning. All parts appear to be original. The CR1 was sold at the height of the Cold War, and the manual suggests that the radio could be useful for civil defense purposes during power failures, for example. The two civil defense emergency radio frequencies are marked with CD symbols on the detector tuning dial. The CR1 is very popular with crystal radio collectors and typically commands high prices on sources like eBay. I routinely see them selling for more than $150 US without headphones. There are also some reproductions or replicas on the market, sometimes even with the Heathkit markings on them. I've made an earlier YouTube video entitled A Look at Two Crystal Radios, which looked at two other crystal radios, a Radio Shack kit, and a homebrew unit that uses a real crystal and cat's whisker detector. See the link in the YouTube summary.